We're live.
Okay.
Teresa, do you want to get started?
Sure. Hello, everyone. This is a meeting of the Athens in Motion Education and Communications Subcommittee. We're discussing logo options for Athens in Motion. So I'm going to get out of the way and let the people who know what we're talking about talk.
I wanted to double check. Lauren, how much time did you have?
I'm here. I'm really the main thing. I'm just trying to get a break before our mayor and commission meeting tonight at 6. So
And
that's all.
I'm ready to share my screen and just show you what I've come up with based on the conversation that Daniel and I had. So
Okay.
here.
All right. Well, go ahead with the presentation of logos.
Okay. Daniel and I had a lengthy conversation and talked about the logos that I'd shown. And so I'm going to show you on the left side of my screen. I hope it's on the left side of yours, the one that was the original, and then some iterations. And no decision, of course, has to be made now. And I'll send this file to Daniel, and then he can send it to everyone, and you can, look at it and discuss it. And so for this one, the primary feedback I got was doing a different font. That the heavy metal font of the original was not perhaps the best, although
I liked it, Ellen. I really
like it.
I'm into the heavy metal.
So you can compare the two. And then Daniel mentioned that in some instances you would need to stack or have a smaller footprint of the logo. So for a lot of these, I'm showing you that as well. So here's the first one. And I'm assuming the blue and green is a done deal, but that too can be changed. I mean, I really like it, and I think it helps show some continuity between what you had before and what you're doing now.
I'm liking the look of both of those.
Okay. All right. So here's the second one, and I condensed and thickened the letters so that it made a little bit more sense that it was AIM, and again did it in the horizontal and then as a more compact footprint. I like this one because I think it shows all the elements that you need in what you're trying to convey. It's graphically strong, it shows motion, movement, whatever. So I thought this kind of also showed the acronym better. All right. And then this one, I got feedback that you wanted the wheels to go the other way. And Daniel and I talked about, he mentioned, maybe making them look like bike wheels but I suggested that you don't want to narrow yourself down to just cyclists. And so I kept the basic premise and just turned the arrows the other way. And then I'm showing you what it would look like if you did the compact footprint. Then this one was one that got a meh, which I totally understood. It was kind of my meh too. But then I liked the font. And so I just wanted to come up with something that used that.
Yeah, that's definitely better,
So there's that. And this one, which, oh my gosh, when you all said it looked like the H&M logo, I was like, what is that? I mean, it really did not even cross my mind. So I came up with 3 different iterations with different fonts. So this is one that you'll just have to take some time and look at and think about, and does it work or is it too much? I really like the original fonts, but now looking at the H&M logo, I see exactly what you're saying. But these again, I think the acronym needs to show dynamism and movement in some form or fashion. Then this one with when I looked back at my notes, Daniel, my notes didn't make any sense. You said something about, I don't know why, but my notes didn't make sense. So I came up with something that's kind of the same, but completely different.
Interesting.
And that one can also be used just the Athens in Motion, the font,
Mhm.
and then you can add the graphic if you want. So so can you remind me though, in case you want me to do something else with this particular one, because I know there was a lot of discussion about crosswalks. And so what was it about the original one that you liked or didn't like? And
Yeah, I think one of the things that was mentioned was that we liked that it was an elevated crosswalk and an at grade crosswalk. And that's just meaning like the in motion is kind of like on the side of the crosswalk. So it's kind of like a speed table type situation. So
somehow I didn't write that down.
yeah, no, I assume that that's probably the thing that got lost in translation. But were there other comments on like Lauren or Teresa? Do y'all have any feedback, or Scott? Any feedback on?
To me, it looks like an awning, like you have over a sidewalk cafe kind of thing. That's kind of where I keep coming back to. It's like
Both of them or the original one?
the original. I like the new one a lot better.
Okay. Well, that's something to consider. And if you do want, because I wasn't sure, Daniel, what you wanted me to do differently with it.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was something. If this one might have been one of the ones that we could just kind of toss out.
I don't think it had a lot of traction.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? I liked this one. I thought that everyone liked this rendition of a crosswalk. Like they felt like it was clearly a crosswalk. And I'm the one who liked the 2-layer effect.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it works, but it's one.
But I will defer to the Education and Communications Committee.
Oh, wow. You're part of that.
Okay, and then this one, which was again a meh, and it looked too much like a road, but I really liked the movement in it, and I did get feedback that the font was good, the juxtaposition of the regular and then the italic, and so I just wanted to show you what it could look like without the road motif and more of, anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's pleasing and it's beautifully done. I don't know that it really speaks to our what we want our brand to be. I mean, I keep thinking about surfing when I'm looking at that, or tsunami.
Okay. Well, I can see that. Okay, then this was a no-go, so I didn't even do anything with it. Somebody said it looked like a wedding invitation.
Right.
This was another iteration of, I forgot I'd done that. So I did it so that you could see what it looked like in a compact form too, which I liked a lot. But, it's another one to consider. And then the one on the left, the Athens in Motion, Daniel said he liked it and he wanted to see if it kind of had a street grid or like a subway map. So I took and grayed back downtown Athens map and then put the Athens in Motion on top of it. But
yeah, I kind of like that. That's really interesting and fun.
And you could do it with or without the street grid behind it, depending on, and it could also be stacked. I didn't do it in a stacked version, but it would be easy for this to become a stacked version. This one also, I think, was a no-go, but what I did was just come up with something that was similar, but very different. And again, rolling.
Yeah, it's a little tough on the eyes, though. So making me cross-eyed.
Okay. And then here were the just the fonts. So I think that's it.
Well, I think that you've done some great modifications on these things, Ellen, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I will just send this file to Daniel, and he can disperse it however he needs, and then you can give me more feedback, or whatever. Everything is alterable.
Right. Well, hopefully we can get a consensus, or at least a sizable majority in favor of one of these on Thursday.
Is that when you have a bigger meeting of?
Yeah,
We're going to be discussing this on Thursday.
We're not?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Forget
Okay.
about it.
I just, that's the one for the
Right.
strategy. So we just need to, that's going to be a special called session for that.
Okay, sorry, I get my hats mixed up.
Okay, so we're not talking about this one on Thursday. This one can wait until full meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the point here that would need discussion, if we are on a compressed timeline, is if we are going to pay for the services, then that needs to either be paid out from the end of this year, or we have to agree to use next year's budget. But and I know that was something that you wanted to talk about, Lauren.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. We got money left over, don't we?
Yeah.
We should spend it if we can.
Yeah, and Ellen, you've spent a lot of time on this, and we're most grateful for you like taking this on, and we definitely want you to be compensated. Of course, not just for the work that you're doing, but for anyone in the future who may come along and want to provide services to Athens in Motion or any, government, citizen, resident group. And we just want to make things official, I guess, is a way to put it.
I told Daniel, I really, it's kind of a unique circumstance. I officially retired at the end of last year. So I do not have a business license anymore. And I know that, and regardless, but I know that Athens-Clarke County won't pay me for any services unless I have a business license, and I don't have one, and I don't want one. And I told Daniel, I am still working, but I'm working only for people and organizations and nonprofits that I believe in, and I'm happy to donate my time. So you could just categorize this as a donation.
Okay, Daniel, so we're getting into technical stuff that I just don't have the answer to. Is it true that we can't pay individuals who do not have a business license?
That's something that I would definitely from ACC accounts. I mean, and this is technically an ACC account. So yeah, I think we would need an invoice, and I'm assuming that that would then need to be a contract.
Yeah, and I think that that's changed. I had a business license for many, many years. But when I briefly dropped it because I was teaching, so I didn't have a business license, I was teaching, and then I went back to doing graphic design work, and I submitted an invoice for something I did for Athens-Clarke County, and they called me and they said, you don't have a business license, we can't pay you. So I don't know if that's changed, but irregardless, I don't really want or need to be paid. And if you can somehow figure out a way to make this a donation.
Yeah, it's not really any paperwork or anything to have it be a donation. It's just kind of
like you could send me an acknowledgement of donation of services for,
yeah, absolutely.
You could tell us what the value of the work you do is. Yeah.
Well, I hesitate to tell you. For a logo, it depends on if are you a nonprofit? Is Athens in Motion a nonprofit?
Yeah, I guess we get kind of lumped into that, but we're not like a 501c3 either. We're a
government board.
Yeah, government board.
So we're non-taxable, but I don't know if
it's all gray area.
I mean, it's I could get more info on it, but it probably would be considered nonprofit area.
Okay. If you're a nonprofit, I charge $500 for a logo. If you're not a nonprofit, I charge $1,000 for a logo.
Well, there's no profit happening here. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I guess that in the basis sense of the word nonprofit, we are a nonprofit.
Yes, you are. Yeah, and I'm happy to. Yeah, that works for me. So.
Daniel, do you think that you could reach out and get clarity on this? I mean, this would just be good to know for the future. And this kind of thing does come up in commission meetings, like how we can support locally owned businesses or Black owned businesses. And I
Yeah.
just want to be able to have an answer like, okay,
Right.
if they have a business license or they need a business license or something going forward, and be able to explain this going forward. And then if that still is the case, then certainly I'd like to write a letter acknowledging the donation of services at the nonprofit rate of $500. That's on the record somewhere.
Yeah, I think that is important, and I think it would be good to make sure that that stipulation is still on the books, that Athens-Clarke County will not cut a check to an entity that does not have a business license. And you don't have to have the business license in Clarke County. You just have to have one.
Right.
So that's the,
Right. Well, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, I think it would open up to a lot of corruption if they didn't require business licenses.
yeah, I totally
Yeah.
understand it. I got back into doing design work, and then they said, hey, by the way, you're not legit. And I went, oh boy. Okay.
So then to answer the original question, if there are no funds that we're worried about, then there's not an immediate timeline on this. I can go in and basically we can swap out the logos within the branding materials and plan once we get that final delivery. They can just use our logo for now. We could, if it does finish in time, then we could potentially send it over to Tool Design Group, and then they can put it into the plan. But really, for our purposes, there's not much of a deadline. So yes, we can wait until the next meeting on the 28th.
Okay, Daniel, I just sent you the file so you can
Thank you.
share that. And again, if there is no hard deadline that you need it by X time, I'm not going anywhere that I know of. But it would be good to get a heads up if it's like, it has to be by.
Oh, for sure.
And if you have any, like changes you would like to see to, at this point, I hope you can kind of narrow it down to 2 or 3. And then if you want some alterations to those, that's fine.
Yeah. What do you think, Lauren? Should we just set aside some time on the agenda on the 28th to discuss as a commission the like 2 or 3 favorite logos and some final feedback, and then I can work with Ellen on kind of the final development before we get the final back to y'all?
Yeah, Teresa, what do you think? Do you feel like you can narrow it down to 2 or 3 and work with Ellen?
Well, I mean, I could certainly, vote for my 3 favorites and put them forward. But, as long as everybody's okay with that. And then,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm down with that. Scott, what do you think?
he's nodding.
Yeah.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you all just say, number 1, 5, and 7, and somebody else says 2, 4, and 6, then you guys just have to work out before you.
Yeah. So I guess, okay. So Daniel's got the file, so you can just send it to me, Daniel, and then I'll just spend an hour looking at different versions of it and, trying to put it into some sample documents and stuff and see if I react better to one or the other. But
Scott's vote is for 1 and 3, and I can't remember
1 and 3.
one of
Okay.
those are.
Scott, oh, you're doing sign language. Okay.
I could also we could put together a quick survey for the commission.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna share the logos again.
I mean, that's fine. If we want to have the whole commission like rank them, that would be fine,
Yeah, because
Yeah, and I mean, even going back to the previous ones is fine with me. Whatever works best for you guys.
I mean, I think you've really taken what we said, and you've done a great job of updating these logos. So it's great.
I did tell Daniel that he has to at least buy me a beer at Creature Comforts.
It's a coffee. I can't.
Anybody else who, you know, or coffee.
We're on a live meeting. It's a coffee.
Oh, coffee.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Some water.
Yeah. Is ACC staff allowed to
Completely.
pay bribe non-official businesses?
can.
Friends. Daniel and I are friends.
Okay. Okay, so Scott likes 1 and 3. Yeah. Yeah, I think I like all the updates of these. I mean, they were cool to begin with, and then they get progressively cooler. I think I kind of like 1 and 4, but yeah, I'll defer to the committee on this, and I'm willing to go with what the commission as a whole wants to do.
How many people do you have on the whole commission?
There's 9 of us,
9 voting members, right?
9 voting members, but they may not all be there.
Right. And, you know, Scott is not a quote unquote voting member, but, you know, obviously, Scott, we want you to weigh in on this because you're our man on the scene.
Right.
Yeah, also Scott's design was like used for T-Splost.
Yeah.
It got put on billboards and in print ads and online ads.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I will. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, awesome. I'm gonna put together a quick little survey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we can send that out. And it's not going to be as complicated as the other ones since we were asking about like font hierarchy and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah. So maybe you just get people to like pick their 3 favorites, maybe.
Yeah.
yeah, well, we could do one of 2 things. I could either have them rank them like favorite to least favorite, or and then you could do a weighted average to determine the top 3 from that. Or we could limit and say pick your top 3. The issue with that is that it's more, you know, it's more of like our current voting system where, you know, your priority doesn't really necessarily get factored in.
Right. Well, I guess my problem with trying to rank them all is that, you know, after 3 or 4, the rest of them are just kind of, you know, I don't want to spend any time ranking them because I don't like them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Might be best to say
Hmm.
pick the 3 that you could live with.
Hey, yeah, we could do that.
We could also do it in a way where it's like logo 1 and it's like love it, it's good, I could live with it, don't want it. And then if we do that for all of them, then I can do a weighted score from that.
That's a good way.
Okay.
Right.
Do you like those 4 options for choices?
Yeah.
Okay. We could do a 1 to 50 rating scale. I'm just kidding.
No, Daniel, we're not doing that.
Daniel.
Well, I don't have the agenda in front of me. Is there anything left to talk about? I know Lauren is going to be at the
Meeting.
Oh, what's that, Ellen? Sorry. Oh,
Love a quick meeting.
me too.
Right. So are you speaking tonight, Lauren?
Yes, I guess I should. I'm preparing my remarks now.
Do you
What
need
is the
anyone?
meeting tonight? Is it the regular?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
the voting session, and they're going to be. I guess they're voting on the budget, but also the complete streets policy is one of the items on there. So
Are they going to vote on the Vision Zero coordinator?
that's within the budget. So yeah, it's. I know I've seen where there's some CDOs floating. I don't really know which ones. I don't know much about them. I haven't really been paying attention, but as long as the CDO includes that position, then that's whether or not we're getting funded.
Right. Well, let's keep the faith.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think you need to say a lot, Lauren. I think I'm hoping that it goes well, and don't stretch yourself too thin with going there, because they've heard people talking, and you know, American Heart Association has been reaching out, so I feel like I have not heard a lot of like negative things or major concerns being sent to me. I haven't really heard any at all since they discussed it. And usually, if there were some major concerns, those would be sent to us through the manager's office. Yeah. Thanks so much for everybody being able to come, and
Thank you,
all the
Ellen.
work that y'all do.
Ellen, thank you for taking on our cause. Like,
Happy to
Yeah.
help. Well, it's near and dear to me too. I'm actually
Mhm.
wearing my Firefly Trail.
Okay. So we'll figure out what we're doing regarding AthFest. At the moment, it's looking like probably not doing anything, but you know.
I mean, I can help for a couple hours at some
Sure.
point. I don't want to sit there all day.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, right. So thank you.
I'll look forward to hearing from you.
and Ellen, you're still on Prince Avenue, right?
Yeah, I am. I am.
Yep.
And we got.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for going through all those studies.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
it was really important too, because my God, that corridor is
It's
subject of study after
it just
study.
needs so much help.
Yeah.
It's serving too many purposes.
Yeah, and it's tricky. There are so many issues, and I've really enjoyed working on that committee, but a lot going on. All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned. I can